are having a great red day. Are we really having a great day? Yes, because nothing is more expensive than a missed opportunity. I personally believe that. And it's like I entered at 0.24 and the price was still dropping. So it's the art of catching a falling knife which makes an investor successful. Now, that's from Warren Buffett. You should be careful, but if you are taking that falling knife at the right time, then that's cool. Yesterday night, we actually showed you guys that there is a possibility of a bounce to the downside in the MACD here on a 4-hour chart, and now we are getting that in MACD and the price is going down. So we did it now, and like we looking at the price and RSI. So on the 4-hour chart, RSI and the price is showing a divergence. So you can ask why I bought more. That is a question majority would be asking or thinking. Because now we are at a retesting area. Say we broke above this particular trend line and then we came back and we are retesting that. For me, it looks like that. And if you look at that green zone, it is the horizontal support resistance zone. And then the 20 and 50-day moving average is acting as a support. So I took as an investor, I took my choice, and I think that's a calculated guess which I can actually go through. And yes, even if the price dipped even a little bit below than 0.24, it's okay, because majority of the time, even if you are right with your decision or your choice to buy that asset at that price, the price may even dip further, right? So you won't be a perfect timer of the market, but you can be a position trader. You can position yourself based on a price swing. You can either call it a swing trader or, it depends. But still, as an investor, we are looking at this as an opportunity. At least those guys who are educated, looking at the charts, fundamentals, and whatever we are analyzing in this arena, they would be taking that shot. Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. If you saw value in the content, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. If you would like to extend your support for the channel and the research executed here, you can use the Patreon, PayPal or the XRP wallet address given in the description below. Now, this tweet from Ryan actually shows something what we are experiencing now. Don't sell after heavy red, don't buy after heavy green. Or in other words, just put that into the opposite side, you'll get don't sell after heavy red. So what if I'm looking at buying, right? So don't buy after heavy green. So what I'm actually looking, if it is heavy red, I shouldn't be selling. So what should I be doing? Obviously I should be buying. So if it's a heavy green, then I shouldn't be buying there. Instead, I should be looking at selling that asset. So it's kind of clear. Now that's, from one side, you're getting that information, and the other side of technical and fundamental, we are looking at things, kind of as we saw in RTGS Global coming at Ripple and XRP stating we don't need a bridge asset, we can go this way. But IMF itself, IMF and Bank of England shows this. Correspondent banking relationships are going down year by year, and this is till 2015. Whereas the global e-commerce is going to the upside. So what is the real take of Ripple and how is this really evolving? Because managing the correspondent banking networks, relationships, that chain for banks are costly, and they are decreasing that overhead burden for them just to execute this. Instead, they would be going to Citi, JP or any other bank and pay extra money instead of having this relationship. So if the Ripple killer is to be successful, they need to have a stable correspondent banking relationships there, right? Now, we previously saw a chart from Ben Graves showing, pointing towards the $8,000 XRP and all, but he was also comparing XRP with ZAP. Now, in his analysis, this is for ZAP, showing this WXYZ here in this arena, and he kind of illustrated that XRP is still WXY. So here in that comparison, you should be getting a Z here. Now, personally, I was going through that and I had, it looks something similar, but for me, I think the Z is already in. Why? Because if you look at the Z here, what you can see is this 1, 2, 3, 4 here at this bottom, which was the first pump, and then it came back, retested a level, right? So if it is coming to that Z or Z, it's that level. So if you look back at XRP, this was that first level we are discussing about, right? And then the Y actually reached back in that area. So that is 3, 4 and 5. So this one is the 4 here. And if you look at the same here, 4 and the Z, we can assume that it already made that, because why? If you put that Y here and another X here, then the Z should be here for me. Now, this is completely personal opinion and how I see the price being fluctuated, right? Along with the fundamentals around us, which really makes it clear that we are heading into a new direction where we are going to get a lot of competition between payment networks. Now, Alipay, WeChat Pay, everything within China, they were huge. But once the central bank digital currency is being enrolled, that will be a different story. They can't compete with central bank digital currency in any manner. Now, that's not only about China. If you look at different countries coming out with central bank digital currency, they all have different individual silos of payment networks. Now, if they are to interoperate, they are to be live, then they need to be interoperable first at a lower cost. Why? Central bank digital currency, they would be making it as interoperable with all the financial system within that nation. Why? Because they need to move that value within there. So these giants would be looking at this as a competitor instead. That's why we had a lot of resistance against this. So as we go further, I would actually like to play this video for you guys, because it kind of gives you an idea of what we are looking at.
So as we were saying before, it's critical from our standpoint. And I think one of the things that we've seen early on is that the blockchain movement, starting with Bitcoin, kind of went in the face of regulation. And there's some discussion out there that you could actually see where it's almost like the Napster, where it was the first one, it was the innovative, it created the movement, but then because it didn't kind of work within the regulatory framework, it ends on that basis. You have to work within the regulatory framework.
What is being highlighted here is clearly regulations, because unless we have that proper clarity inside of regulators, regulations coming in and pushing that, we would be having issues. Now, this is an article which I showed in yesterday night's video too, but as the views are really low, I would like to make this information go more, like reach majority of our community here, at least the scientific investor community. So when we are looking at that, keep this in mind, because this really is one of the important thing. It is important that we prevent competitive abuses in the market, where blockchain may offer consumers and businesses lower cost or higher value options. So you can directly connect that with Ripple, right? They are providing both lower cost option and higher value option for the consumers and the businesses. And then when we come down here, they look at this in that way that the incumbents or the status quo could try to stop or limit the potential of blockchain solutions so they can maintain market dominant positions. That really is happening, right? Isn't it? So now regulators are looking at this in a different manner, and this can be kicked in, because when they are studying different blockchain and understanding what this really means, that is really good for Ripple as a company, because they are working with a lot more regulators, as we all know. Now, if you already saw this a couple of days back or so, it would be still informational to listen to that one. Why? Because don't just get looking at everything and regulations in a crypto market and all, don't just look at it in a negative manner. Why? Because we are going to get a huge difference in the financial markets, asset management. Every team should be like previously we were discussing, like they would be dipping their toes in, but here, as we are watching how these things are evolving, it's going to be a monstrous investments era. But yes, it won't be like just easy, right? Because the price would be fluctuating like this. Why? There would be a lot of manipulation. If you look at XRP comparatively with others like BTC, Ethereum and all, it's kind of stable for a bit of a moment. Why I say that? Because if you come to Coin Paprika and look at this in last 24 hours, Ethereum went minus 13%, Chainlink went minus 14%, whereas XRP is minus 6%. Now, yes, both are in red. That's not a good news, but still, if you look at the percentage of fluctuation, it's similar in 24 hours. But if you look at a weekly change, it's something similar between Ethereum and XRP. So that's the daily change there, right? But for Link, in which majority are jumping into that, it's minus 35%. When an asset is at all-time high, if you are jumping your ship into that, I would really like to highlight this tweet from Ryan. Don't buy after heavy green. Don't sell after heavy red. If you are looking at the entire market cycle for XRP, we are seeing heavy red, which is minus 95% from the all-time highs. And you're jumping from this and entering into another asset which is at all-time high green level, heavy green. That's up to you. Like what call you're making for that asset, it's completely up to you, right? But again, that comes back to the question, why are we here? We are here in this market to make profit. So if you are to make profit, you should be buying low and selling high. Now that's the common sense.
I have a limited time here. I wanted to switch to sort of what the OCC has been doing in the charter space. You recently mentioned the OCC was thinking about issuing a national bank charter for payments companies.
So the highlighted national charters for payment companies, that is what we are looking at. Now this is in the US side, right? In the US arena, this is happening. And if you look at ECB Europe, they are all looking at a faster digitization using cutting edge payment system. Now I'm repeating that in the third video again because that really is important. World, different geographical areas, different central banks are all aligning towards one thing. If you understand that, that would be easy for you and your investment in the future.
That space.
Well, let's unpack a couple of things you've said, Rachel. So the Fed is working on a project that will be ready in 2024. Let's just pause on that for a moment. 2024. Today is 2020. The United Kingdom already has a real-time payment system in 2020. And America, the leader of the financial services world, will have it in 2024. I think that's unacceptable from a competitive standpoint, right? This country is a leader in two industries in the world at the moment, financial services and technology. The idea that we're going to allow Singapore, China, the UK, and the EU to leapfrog us in terms of faster payments, much the way that other countries got 5G telecommunications long before we're ever going to have that, should give us pause. It should really give us pause. And so the question I have is, when real-time payments technology is available today in the form of private blockchains that already exist and are transacting $350 or $400 billion of market cap every day, I guess I ask myself, why do we want to wait for those things? So, you mentioned some of these bank-owned payment networks, which are far from real time, which have chargeback risk, which have error rates and things like that. And I just question whether those are good enough for the modern economy.
Now that perspective from Brian and what we just saw here is going to be changing everything, right? They are already understanding that the change, the slowness of this particular system's adoption is because of the status quo. They have higher reach, but now they are really looking at things. Now they are comparing it with different nations, and just US is saying, no, this is not acceptable. Other nations are already way high on this one, right? And why you want to wait for 2024 for Fed to unveil a new payment system, domestic payment system, say Fed now, for example, they are going to come up with those kind of things in a country like US by 2024. That's unacceptable. So they are looking at what private blockchain firms which are processing payments, and with 400 billion all in volume, they are processing that thing, right? So if they has to be adopted now, there is no question that they would be creating their own blockchain network for payments and all, because that takes time. Because here they're talking about saving time and using the available technology and pushing the innovation further, right? So in that way, innovation, technology, and being a leader in that arena would be first priority, and then giving the consumers a better experience is the second thing. Both can be achieved when they enter into the current system. And if you are looking at current system as a regulator, the regulatory clarity, other steps, if you're bringing that on the table, who has been working with regulators, who has been working with central banks, or just look at the other side. If central banks are looking at it, if they have any doubt about this payment system, where will they go directly? If you are looking at different crypto space actors, no question, right? Ripple, the company, they would be going and having the chit chat with them. So that kind of clarity is already there for us. And then when we look at different articles about the banker showing how you have to manage your cash and all, now we actually detailedly went through these articles previously, so I won't be jumping high in that, but they are all showing the highlight of the technology, distributed ledger technology, and giving you an example of a US non-bank payment solution, an XRP, which instantly does that transfers. That's not just one time. For example, they are giving it many times within that document. It's not once. They are showing the liquidity solution XRP. Now when they say liquidity solution, it really is the liquidity solution. Now these are all happening, like Canada's big banks report over 500,000 mortgages on payment deferral. Now this we understand, right? The world is on a course. We are still entering into the course. Now if I want to actually show that to you guys, but that's not possible now because I don't have the subscription. Now this actually shows Bitcoin goes mainstream, why they are allowing it to accept for payments, for tax payments. Now that is something really cool for that area. Now this from Microsoft News shows Finastra and Microsoft announced a multi-year global strategic agreement to accelerate transformation of financial service. So what are we really talking about? All over the world, we are all talking about a new financial system, changing the financial services, transforming this new infrastructure, using different words but targeting one same thing, right? And looking at the general side, the general crypto market, the adoption, the investors coming in, how they are viewing this and all, you can see that the adoption is increasing. Now yes, we have been saying this for a long time, but now we are seeing huge or giant money coming in. But when are they actually entering the market? At a time when we are looking at green red mixed site? No, they would be looking at the market to get much better price, and if you are looking at this, they would be already entering from here. Now yes, there have been seeing comments like, okay, if they have already entered at the bottom, why are they still waiting? It doesn't actually work that way. See, huge investors, smart money, they can't actually enter in the market in such a way that they would be creating a panic in the market, like huge 50, 100, 200% green candles or something like that. They can only enter in a limited space in which the entire market is not affected directly instantly by their buy order or sell order. So what they does usually is they enter step by step, and that's why if you look at the distribution phase, the accumulation phase, these all happen due to that. They would be doing that step by step, but compared to the retail investors, the investments what we do here, they would be entering 100,000 times than that. So it's not about something small. We are talking about something really huge. Now, yes, we saw a bit of positive divergence here, and the RSI is kind of validating that. So what are we generally expecting the price to do from this area? Now, yes, we may actually move down and retest that area. But looking at the chart, you can see that the price already went to the bottom. It went and retested that long-term trend line, which it broke previously here on July, by the end of July, right? Now, in September, it's going back and retesting that area. If you look at that in a positive manner, if you're an investor, you should be positive about everything when you are trying to understand what really is happening. Now, we can actually say that previously these levels were acting as a resistance here. If you put your horizontal line to showcase that support here, previous support which was acting as a resistance here, it just broke above this level. Now if you can't see that, I'll zoom in and then look at that. We came back, tested that area a couple of times before we broke to the upside. Now yes, with this example we are using it for multiple things. Why? When we break a level which is critical level, which is being respected for a long time, what happens is usually the price come back and retest. Now, not 100% every time it does that, but majority of the time we can see that, and we were actually expecting that this is gonna make a bullish flag here and go to the upside from that area. But what it actually did is opposite, right? We were expecting this particular support line to stand, but if you zoom in and look at that particular area, you can understand that we didn't. We actually broke to the downside, came back, retested that area, and it failed and it went back. Now that's on a shorter time frame. Yes, I agree, we failed to move to the upside, move into the moving average range and pump from there. But when we look at the same on a zoomed out view in a daily or a weekly or a monthly, what we can understand is we are still in that bull mode. Now that is on a daily, right? If you just jump onto a weekly chart, this is what we are looking at. We are getting huge red candles. I completely agree with that. Why? Because we went to the upside, we tried to break to the upside, we couldn't, and we are coming to the downside. But even on weekly, now we are being supported by this trend line, 20-day moving average, 50-day moving average, the horizontal support resistance area. Everything is showing that there is a possibility. Now when we look at the MACD on a weekly, we are now pointing towards downside, right? So still, when we saw that bounce in 4 hour, something similar can happen here too. If you look at here, the price went to the upside, it was correcting, it got a bounce. Now if you zoom out and look at different areas, it was trying to cross to the upside, then it got a bounce here. So similar things can actually happen. But when we are saying that, do understand we have a trend line here. So that can push either the price stay at this level for some time, or we may drop or wick even lower, create this as a new resistance. But if we are to turn bullish from here, it would be changing like a new trend from here. Now that's on a weekly, right? If you go into a smaller time frame chart, say for example this one, which is a 12-hour chart, you look at the RSI, MACD, or whichever you are really looking at, say the momentum and the oscillation, which you can see here is like this. We are still moving to the downside, but we are reaching at the bottom, and then we are creating that double bottom kind of thing. But it's not yet confirmed unless we move to the upside and break this neckline. It's not yet confirmed. So if you are trading this market, be cautious, because if you are trading and volatility is back in the market, it may actually take out money from your pocket. So you should always be entering the market if you're trading with proper stop losses. But if you are an investor looking to accumulate more and more, look at the critical support areas and buy at that support areas. Don't buy at the resistance level. Instead, go find support levels, and when the price is reaching that critical support levels, try to buy in. I actually bought in, as I told previously, because at that time it was also falling just below, making a wick below this particular support line here around 0.25, right? And then we had that support reaching until here around 0.245, but at that particular time the price was below, even below that, near 0.24, which was the previous support and resistance line here. So I entered at that point, but still the price is even below that. The position is still in red, but that doesn't make any change. Why? Because I know the actual opportunity which I saw, and I still believe in that opportunity. Question here is, you have already invested in XRP. Are you still confident with the fundamentals of XRP and the opportunity which you saw and seized? If you still believe in that, stay awake, stay informed, stay educated. Now, when I say this, I would also like to highlight you guys, right? We as a community here, I can directly show you guys, like, we went in, right? We went into this asset class. But if we look at, just, this is not complaining, I'm just showing you guys, we talked about the price fluctuations and the positive stance, you know, what the information, current affairs in a live video, and then followed by a video yesterday. But watching that, what I understood that is majority of the subscribers in this channel is newcomers in this market, maybe 1 year or below that, and only 10 to 20% are been here from like 2-3 years in the crypto market. So when we try to educate them about this really is happening, they don't want to watch that. They are not interested in that. That is the real problem. Unless you are properly informed, educated about the crypto market, price fluctuation, patterns and trends in a shorter time frame, when you see a red day like this, don't complain, because if you are watching the patterns and you're already looking at, there is a possibility that this may happen. Now, yes, that's not 100%, right? We are looking at probability. And even if that goes against you, you would be looking at, okay, what is the next support level? Is the price respecting that level? Right? So this is the way you should be looking at when you are educated. But when you are not educated, go to the comment section and look. You'll be seeing, you can watch people, shooting out negative comments. XRP is going to zero, blah, blah, blah stuff. Anyway, hope you guys actually understood the value of gaining more knowledge as an investor. Hope you guys saw value for your time in this video, and if you did, please do support the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.